What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel, guys. Here with a video that was recommended to me. Checking out this. Believe this is a channel. Well, no, this is not the channel, but somebody sent me this video in the recent video that I did on Australia states and territories. We hear Australia's weird geographical quirks. So finna check this out. I seen at on the thumbnail it had like that little line right there. I believe in West Australia, and it's tough. I mean, y'all seen it at the beginning of the video as well, but it's just like it's not a straight line, basically, right there, as y'all see. So we're gonna see what my guy talking about. Y'all hit that subscribe button, send down those recommendations.
Here are some geographical quirks of Australia that you might not already know. These are the Australian states and territories. Here's Tasmania, the only island state, ringed by ocean and cut off from the rest of the continent by the Bass Strait. Except it's not quite. If we zoom in, we can see that Tasmania and its northern neighbour state Victoria actually share a land border on this tiny and uninhabited island. The maritime border between the two states cuts right across Boundary Islet. This little islet border anomaly arose as the result of surveying errors and misinterpretations when repeatedly carving off sections of the colony of New South Wales into what are today Tasmania and Victoria. Boundary Islet is basically a chunk of rock that sometimes has some seals lounging on it. Speaking of disjointed borders, the Australian Capital Territory, or ACT, was carved out of New South Wales so the federal government could have a territory of its own from which to govern.
I think I remember hearing that.
But they felt strongly about the federal government also having access to a seaport. So instead of making the ACT somewhere on the coast, they just annexed another small territory, the southern peninsula of Jervis Bay. Jervis Bay is a separate territory from the ACT, but when it comes to federal elections,
I remember seeing
the people of
Jervis
Jervis
Bay
Bay vote in the electorate of Fenner, which is centred in the ACT. And in terms of geographical quirks of electorates, spare a thought for the people of Norfolk Island, who vote in the ACT electorate of Bean, 1,900 kilometres away.
Dang.
But that isn't even the furthest removed local representation in the country. The electorate of Lingiari encompasses the red centre of Australia, the tropical top end of the Northern Territory, minus the urban areas of Darwin and some of Palmerston, and Christmas Island, which is 2,500 kilometres away.
You can't, I'm sure that's so small, you can't even see that on a regular map. I think somebody was mentioning Christmas Island to me in the comments as well. Yeah, when I did the states and territories, I realized how many small islands there are in Australia.
And there are some even more widely distributed pockets of Lingiari. Maybe it needs a video of its own. While we're on the topic of the outback, Australia is home to some really large pieces of land that are used for cattle stations. The largest is Anna Creek Station, which is the largest cattle station in the world. It's over 23,000 square kilometres, which is a larger land area than 50 of the world's countries.
Dang.
And it's also true that the country of Brunei used to own a station in Australia that had a larger land area than Brunei itself, although it sold the station in 2018. Back to the state borders now. And while Australian Aboriginal people have of course been living on the land with their own boundaries for tens of thousands of years, when white colonists tried to divide it up, the results were imperfect. Here's the border of Victoria, New South Wales and South Australia. Looks like it should be a pretty neat line, right? If we zoom in, we can see that the borders are actually a bit of a mess. Victoria juts out to the northwest. The river boundary moves from being along the southern bank to being in the middle of the river, and the intersection of the three states is in the middle of the river. So why isn't this just a nice line? The 141st meridian was originally surveyed to be the eastern border of South Australia.
I wonder, is it like with the borders, I believe Belgium and the Netherlands, it's weird. I mean, to me, when I first seen it, it was weird because like, you have a building, say for instance, I think it was like a library. They have a library. Half of it's in Netherlands, half of it's in Belgium. And they actually have it like on the floor letting you know, oh, you're in the Netherlands, you step on this side, you're in Belgium. You know, of course, taxes come into play when you do all that stuff too. I wonder if it's like that when it comes to the border. That's very interesting.
However, it was incorrectly placed about 3.5 kilometres west of where it actually lies. When the mistake was discovered, New South Wales decided it was fair enough and established the accurate meridian as the border. Victoria kind of went, yeah, nah, we like the border where it is, leaving us with this mess today. And Australia has another line that looks straight, but it's actually not. The borders of the Northern Territory, South Australia, and Western Australia. This north-south line cutting across the entire continent looks dead straight, but if we zoom in, we can again see there's a tiny perturbation.
What?
This deviation is only 127 meters long.
That's interesting. I need to check out Google Earth. It's crazy. Y'all been I see y'all comments. Somebody will tell me to check out Google Earth. I might have to do this.
And was of course the result of another surveying error 100 years ago.
That is different.
The border was intended to be approximately on the 129th meridian. So instead of measuring from one end of the continent to the other, 2 points were picked at either end that were pretty close to the meridian, and a north-south line was drawn from each point.
Wow.
Except, of course, the points were not exactly on the meridian, so the north-south lines didn't match up. Instead of fixing it, they just drew an east-west line to join the two north-south lines up. Could they have fixed it? For sure. But they had actually already agreed not to worry too much about little slip-ups like this. They'd agreed that an academic result was not to be sought after with a high and fanciful degree of accuracy. A century-old way of saying, she'll be right. And just a couple for my fellow Victorians who, like me, thought they had a good mental map of Australia in their head, but maybe I don't. Adelaide is north of Canberra, and Perth is north of Sydney. These realizations actually blew my mind. Well, that's it. I hope there was something for everyone in this video. Surprise island land borders, silly electoral boundaries, surveying mistakes, and surprisingly northerly cities. See you next time.
I definitely say the same thing. Oh, I need to see that. That's very interesting how Australia's crocodile didn't go extinct. But now I said the same thing because on my other channel, I try to do like lots of geography now. I did stuff. This guy, I forgot his name, but he had a channel, or his channel is kind of like history related. And he started bringing out maps from like the beginning of time. I believe it was like how Europe stole, how Europe stole America, or how America stole something, or it was something like that. But he's bringing out, he found maps from like the beginning of map time. I guess I would say like the first map type things and stuff like that, and how different the map just changed over time. And you know, we have our globes, we have maps that we can probably Google, that we probably seen in schools. And I think things are definitely closer than what we see on the map. Things are definitely not how they appear as we see on the map. Google Earth, I might have to go ahead and inspect, do some investigation and see, because I really believe that like things are closer than what it is. And there's still more out there that's possibly to discover. We never know. You know, it's probably a whole nother world, a whole nother country out there, you know, that we ain't heard of, a whole nother continent or something. So I don't know, but this was very interesting. But yeah, y'all let me know if it's like the border thing, like I mentioned with the Netherlands and Belgium, because those things, these are kind of intersecting very much so within each other. But that's all I have for this video. Y'all make sure y'all hit that subscribe button, send down those recommendations, give this video a thumbs up, and y'all be blessed, be the best, and be you. I'm out.